Andrew, are you there? Give me 1 second, everybody. Andrew, are you there? Excuse me. Hey, pop down 3, 1, 2, 3. Give us a praise report. What happened at your hearing? I was prepared about it came down to the commission was saying that he didn't feel finished his yet. Right. He wanted to go to the okay. Yeah, now is the PFA program, is that in Lino? No, I know it's in Lino, but is that behind the walls or is it in the minimum complex? It's behind the wall. I'm a graduate. But that puts you right next to the minimum, and that movement is good. And the 2 years, I know 2 years is 2 years, but man, I've seen them give people a little bit harder stroke than that. That means they're trying to let you go. Now they're moving you toward the door. So don't take that too hard. And then you got to perform admirably these last 2 years because you're close to the door now. Yeah, hey, listen, man, I'm so glad that you were considerate enough to think about us to call back here and give us a praise report on what's happening with you. Let's give them a round of applause. Tonight we have a few things going on tonight. One of them, though, is we're going to be discussing the gun violence that is taking place around the community. And if you have any ideas that you want to write to us about how we can get to our young people, African Americans, European, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, and Native American, everybody's struggling. Everybody's struggling with it, man. And see, you know what it is to be on the other side. And so, and have your good mind about you and have your wits about you. You're a smart man. I'm proud of you. And I want everybody to give him a whole bunch of that for the way he came in. We got a lot of guests tonight, so I'm gonna let you go early, but I want to give him a pop guy on 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. Got number love for you. Hang in there and check back in with us soon. All right. Yeah. Give him some love. Let it go. Right. We got to move on. We got a lot tonight.
PFA is a great program too. I'm a graduate of PFA.
Oh, really?
62, yeah. So it's a great program.
Okay, that's good to hear. So a couple of things are happening tonight. All of them. Just find a tip from somewhere. Put it from Sierra. I don't care where you put it from. So we got some guests tonight. We're so glad to have them. And one of our guests is Sister Sandy Johnson. She is a partner to us here at POP. Many of you all know here because you've been vaccinated here, you've been COVID tested here, you've been everything, blood pressure, A1C, your vision, all of that. We've done that here. But a lot of that started as a result of our relationship with Sandy Johnson. Where is Sandy at? Oh, yeah. Give her a hand. So we got something that we're working on with Sandy now that's got to do with this whole notion of gun violence. And, I just want Sandy to share a little bit about her vision. And then we're going to give her a little feedback. Is that all right? Go ahead. Please, I want you to give her your undivided attention. Go ahead.
I thank you for the introduction. Thank you for allowing me to be here for a minute. Again, I work with Brother Shane and Dr. Werner. They allowed me to be their contract manager during COVID. And I just have a passion for seeing what I can do using my position and my voice at the State Health Department to see what we can do about gun violence together. And so I have some questions. I don't have any answers. So I want to get your input if you'd be gracious enough just to give me some information and talk to me. So hopefully we'll be together again. This is just the intro. And there will be a summit taking place in May. And so right at Shiloh. And so everyone is invited.
Right.
I'm not sure if we'll have food like this. But invited.
Well, so last week in preparation for this was the elder season. They got chairs, so whoever want to sit here, please sit down. Last week, what we had realized was in 18 years, and many of us in here have gun related charges. Some of us in here have been shot and survived it. We hadn't talked specifically about gun violence until last week. I mean, just specifically, just in a box. We've always known, and all of this, that, and the other. Our primary goal is to keep each other out of the penitentiary. That's our baseline. Say baseline. But as we've been at this for a long time, we've been very successful at the baseline. Say baseline. Now, so what we're doing now is we're adding layers to our purpose and existence. And now we're thinking that, look, let's try to respond in some ways, in a way that makes sense for us to this whole notion of gun violence. Since we talked about it last week, and let me just say, it was an amazing discussion last week. I learned some things about some of you. I think I know some of what you're going through, and then I learned some stuff last week I didn't know. Get it? And I shared some stuff. I've been shot, and I shared what that was like for me to be shot, right? And I never forget it, right? And so we're trying to now, we got this experience with either shooters or being shot at, but now we've gotten older, we've gotten wiser, we moved on from some points where we were, in yesteryear, we're moving on to some new points in our lives. That's amazing. How can we be effective, or how can we figure out a pathway, a road to helping other people understand this ain't no game? Let me tell you this right here. I got some guests here that don't know what we do, but I've been going inside them prisons so long. I have had young ones with me who were 16, 17, 18, and 19 who had all day. Get it? And because they were so young, all day means life. Because they had been given so much time and understanding, when they got to the penitentiary, they instantly had to change to survival mode. Say survival. Survival mode is real.
Yes.
And when you get to survival mode, that doesn't give you any time to process what you did to get there. I'll wait for all the amens to die down. Amen. And when you don't process what you did to get there, you really haven't got to the healing part of, or accountability or any of those things. And I find, look, I had one young boy from here, I'll never forget him. I'm not going to call his name, from the north side here, who knew me ahead of time and had got all day in a gang shootout. He joined the group, and some of my lifer sons in Rush City were trying to put their arms around him. So they sent him to our class just to try to beef him up in some way. And man, he did such a good job, and he was processing all the information. He was doing the homework. He was an aggressive student. And one day I was getting ready to leave. He was doing a great job, and I acknowledged him, and I was getting ready to leave. The guy had come for me, and he ran up to me and he said, "Huh, you need to take this. Done everything you've asked me to do." And man, I just stood there and looked at his face, and it was just a little boy looking at me. And what he was saying was, I've made some adjustments. I know I did wrong. I made some adjustments, but I want to go home. But he was nowhere close to a door. Very early yet in his sense. And so we've experienced it, you know, I'm just sharing something that happened with me while I was in, but y'all have experienced this thing in a variety of different ways. How can we in some ways figure out how to use our expertise in this to be helpful? That's what we're talking about. And then we got some other guests here who, you want to share who you are? Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marvina Haynes. My brother is Marvin Haynes, and he has been locally incarcerated for the last 18 years. Me and my family has been advocating for him, like I said, for 18 years. But the last 3 years, I started using my voice on a whole different platform to be able to bring awareness to what took place in 2004. They said that my brother killed Harry Shear at the flower shop right here on 33rd and Lindale. Evidence shows that he did not commit that crime. They used the picture of him 2 years prior when he was 14 to make him fit inside of this church. They went all outside of the box to frame him for that murder. And so I don't know if you guys know about the story, but if you don't, please educate yourself around it. My family is asking for any support that anyone for us. It can be as little as parent posts. And I'm also running for city council of the fourth.
Which is the fourth ward?
It's like
I know where
Willard Hayes.
16th and Oliver, Queen, Vincent.
That's right. That's right. Write that down.
my name is Marvina Hayes, and my brother is Marvin Hayes.
Marvin Hayes. We just looking at his thing, Marvin Hayes. Let me just share a little bit. I know a little bit about the case, not that much, but a little bit about the case. I can tell you that this was during the time when what's the young boy who just got let go? Maya. This is right around the same time as all of that, where the banging was so heavy that, you know, folks was trying to get folks off the street and was doing whatever could be done. Sometimes they wasn't dotting the I's and crossing the T's. I'm not saying, I don't know the very particulars of this case. I do know the nature of the times and some of the things that was happening. They were just trying to calm it down. It was getting out of control. It is out of control. But sis, we just appreciate yeah, please go ahead.
So my Burrell and my brother had the same attorney, the same investigator, and the same prosecutor, which was for Bernstein. My brother was 2 years after Mayan Burrell. When Amy Comershaw was in office, the prison rate went up by 600%. So when we're in this room, we're gonna be speaking on these juveniles. We have to be mindful of the things that has taken place over the years and not go so hard because we're all learning and none of us asked to be born into the poverty and the things that our children are doing has been, so if we go back to when Marvin and Mayan had their whole situation, the leaders who were in place then are the same leaders who were in place. Some of them are the ones that was in place then. They have always spoke to the fact of violence prevention, but we have yet to see any of that happen. And so I just want everyone to be mindful on the things and how we're going to speak on our youth because they're part of our community. And here's a couple brochures.
Yeah, Minnesota wrongly convicted, judicial reform, and busy the world where the justice system work for everybody. Now, I'm just going to give you a little tip. It's funny that my sister will bring this up because the county attorney that's there now, who have been here many times, Mary Moriarty, I'm sure she would have viewed things differently at that time. You're right. There was a system in place that had made some decisions and they carried out those decisions. I don't know exactly what happened with her brother, but I do know that there was some questions about cases in that time. There's questions now. I'm just giving you another example where this is something that you all know about the two young brothers, 15 and 17, that broke into the lady's house and assassinated her. Here, I said assassinated. The county attorney here is trying to prosecute them as juvenile. Friend Keith Ellison is saying, no, this is too heinous. We won't try to decide which is right now. I'm only pointing out to you, this stuff is out of control. We have got to be able to do some things that are helpful. That's why Sandy's here tonight. And we're going to have a discussion. But before we get to Sandy, hey, Wood, that's Woody Woods right there. Give me. And y'all don't know this, but that's Solomon Denham right there. And Solomon is a married man. Give him a hand. Now, those of you who know Sal know that if matrimony have come over him, you know the Lord has got to be there. Big a hand on that. Hey, they said, who is like the Lord? Nobody. Solomon, I just want to say this to you. Watch this. I'm talking to everybody, I'm just telling you now. Single men who think about their single. The difficulty with single men who finally find matrimony is that they don't completely understand they've surrendered all, say all, their singleness. Yeah. Wait a minute. I'm gonna wait for all the churches to die down. Say all. The word all means is a big word. It means everything with the exception of nothing. Say all. Yeah, when it says I surrender all, that means everything. You don't get married and thinking it's 50-50. You got to get in 100. And if she don't give 100, you keep giving yours. That's right. Yeah. And his wife, she's beautiful, she's lovely, and you so fortunate, man, that you have such a beautiful lady, and she's fortunate if you can surrender truly all your singleness and come into union with your wife. The two become one. Oh, that's absolutely. Listen at her. Say, listen. Listen. Oh, I'm talking to everybody here. I can see the look on y'all's face. This is the number one complaint that I've ever heard from a married woman. How do I know this? Because some of y'all's wives don't come and talk to me over these years. Say, Brother Shane, I gotta talk to you. This Negro's crazy. He won't listen. I say, Duvall gonna be all right. So watch this. So watch this though. See, a single guy, he never listens, right? You don't have to listen to anything. He's single. Say single. Single. I mean all by yourself. But a married man is not all by himself. He's no longer single. And he better learn to, yeah, because this is what her number one complaint will be. You don't listen. I'm just trying to help you.
Step them out now.
I'm just trying to help you. And if you don't listen, right, she'll give you back what you give her. Oh, wait a minute, I feel the Holy Ghost now. If you go get her groceries, she will give you dinner. If you go and get her a house, she'll make it a home. But if you give her a heck, boy, she'll turn around and give it right back to you. You don't want it. Say, I don't want it. The single guys don't completely know because you haven't surrendered yet, believing that it's all about you. I'm just helping. I'm just helping you. We came to talk about gun violence, and now you know. But see, some of the folks who didn't listen turned around and had gun violence happen in their own house. Oh my God. My God. So anyway, you know, Sal, just say something about your new life as a millionaire.
It is very different, I can tell you that way. Like you said, Father, I went to sleep, made a man and woke up and realized that I didn't own anything. It was all her. And the problem, well, not a problem. The good thing is, I don't mind it being her. Because I give her my all. Every time I give her my all, she gives me something great. Right.
Amen.
All right.
Give him some love right there.
I'm so proud of you, Sally.
For the whole time, the notice so does I don't know why y'all do that. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Y'all know Isaac is just left. So Isaac is in Boston. Isaac is a lifer, one of our students and brothers. But he's on Facebook every other day. And you know what Isaac signs off as, he said, this is dog bone. Exactly. And so see, you can't go to Boston looking for dog bone. Right? You got to go there looking for another lane. Some things, my point goes south, some things you need to change. You are the adults. Present yourself in that order. Just think about what I'm saying. Now, watch this. Today I ran into your wife. This is God. I didn't know it was her. She pulled me over. She said, Pop, it's me. Solomon's wife. I said, oh, okay. I was waiting for what come after that, you know. Is any married men in here? Raise your hand. Don't be ashamed. Give the married men a hand. Don't be mad at them. Real is a double. He got a double of it. He got a double marriage. So Sal, we're so glad to see you. Marvina, we're so glad to have you. And then there's some more guests here. John is over here. I can come and see. John's a supporter. Give him a hand. And then we got a photographer over here. Photographer, what's going on? What's the big smile? Give her a hand. Give her a hand. Justine. Oh, that's a blues song. Justine. How could you do your daddy wrong? Hey, Justine, we're glad to have you, and you're here supporting Marvina in her campaign. Give Marvina a stand. We're gonna dive into this gun violence stuff. Last week, and I want you to feel free to have this discussion, the open discussion. It's loving. Say loving. Yeah, we got a lovely group here. And my guests who are just coming, you know, we've been doing this for 18 straight years. So you feel something while you're in this room, there's some energy in it, you know, you can feel it. I know you feel it because we create it. And the energy's good. You know, it allows us to conduct our business together. Come and let us reason together. And that's what we do here every Tuesday. Sandy, just from your own, you know, just speak your heart here. Why did you get involved in this? You were in a whole other area when we first met. So how did you make the leap from health and wellness to environment?
I saw a video that talked about Black men between the ages of 15 to 44 make up over 80% of homicide. And so I was like, what? Who knows about that? And a lot of people know about it. A lot of data, information is collected. And when I brought that to my supervisor, he was like, oh, so what are you going to do? I said, well, we're going to have a summit. And that was in October. No money, no support, no, it's an idea and a passion. Like, what? That's me. So I'm here to see what we can do together. So this is the intro of the conversation.
Hey, so did you have some questions you wanted to ask?
I do. I have some questions. My first question is, not everybody speak at once. What do you think is missing from gun legislation? So that's.
Just think for a minute.
Okay.
I mean, the lack of control, the ability for these vendors to speak without being tracked. Like a lot of these guys, if people go to these gun shows, they got people on the side that like, hey, come look at this right here. This ain't registered, and it goes out. I think that it should be more control there, period. I mean, I didn't know we were talking about this, because the crazy thing is, right at my job, I saw the young man shoot the boy in the head at the train station in front of everybody and ran up the street. And everybody stood there like, wow, like it was the norm. That was disturbing. And the sad thing is, to get or to stop it here on the street, it has to be stopped. In the officers first. Up top.
Interesting.
All right, thank you. Who's coming in the next?
Reason. Rights that are given to the people to conduct business. That's the reason. Nobody is sitting in a position to reason. They're not even looking at statistical data worldwide. You know what I mean? In terms of and how people are how the best situation. So the country
Now, that makes a good point. Other countries handle this a little bit different. I will say, we need to be aware, gun violence is a problem all over the world. But you're making a good point. In some cases, people handle it different.
it's part of a two-part question. Go to session. And Stephanie Williams Smith, who's still doing something out there. I was getting live from some friends, they were gang members. And she gets me on the screen. She was getting live, she was sitting in the passenger seat, texting. They had got into it with some boys, got into it with some boys. I guess they rivalry. The bullet came straight through the windshield. They hit her directly in the chest. Yeah. First the paper had said that she was a gang member and this and that. But they heard him clean that up within 24 hours. They found out that she was a graduate college student from University of Minnesota just days ago. Yeah. So, like I told them on top, it doesn't make sense for them to make quick judgment because I agree with the split. We do need a change. Because those that are still in office, Amy, she's one of those. She's my prosecutor as well. She doesn't see the picture inside our neighborhood. They're giving us all these other subliminal messages. We got 50 million cameras and about 1,000 billboards up here, and none of them is showing us the danger of guns as well as the drugs. You gave us a war on drugs, you shouldn't give us a war on guns. And registration for guns, the people that are getting the guns are already cleared up to that. They don't have a background. It's not a person that's with a bad background going to get the weapon. It's the ones without the background going to get the weapon. We haven't sent those subliminal messages from high above as well as ourselves.
Let's stop you right there. Give him a hand right there. That's great. Go ahead.
All right, my name is Shelby. Bob Guy.
Bob Guy.
Now, I think this is my opinion, and I think it's very significant. I think that, first of all, we need to shut down the NRA. Now, the NRA is the National Rifle Association. They need to be shut down because they are the next biggest distributors outside of the gun manufacturers. So they get their stuff from the gun manufacturers and they distribute it all through the country. And they got gun shows going on as I'm speaking now, somewhere in this country. So that's in every state, they got gun shows going on. And the NRA is the main one on top of that. So I'm thinking, if you stop the NRA, you'll slow it down. I didn't say you're gonna wipe it out, but I said you'll slow it down significantly. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
Give him some snaps for that.
This, thank you. This young councilwoman had a behind.
I think that we are finding that suspects figuring out who those guns belong to, because a lot of times people saying like they don't have criminal background, they're just dumping them in our community. And then they do things small like calling and say their gun got stolen, but really they're bringing them here and getting paid for them and different things. So also holding them accountable because they are responsible for that gun. He's holding the gun.
Give us some data. Sandy, let me do the calling.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it. That was excellent, and I appreciate. Come on, Sue.
If we put the Bible back in the schools and we pray, we can stop
Give us some love. Say it
My
again.
name is Tracy. My name is Tracy Mannery. On the stage, I'm known as Christopher Tracy. I'm a gospel artist. I almost became a part of that gun violence. My son was brutally murdered, mistaken identity. And when they were trying to find out who it was, and I got the information before the police did, I went to find this guy. And when I found him, it wasn't nothing good on my mind. And I was gonna do something real deadly. And if it wasn't for my sister, I don't know how the information got back to my sister, but it got to her and she showed up where I found him. And my sister just jumped out the car and she was like, "No, bro, it's not worth it. Like, don't kill this man." And that was my only son. I raised my son good. My son wasn't violent. He didn't drink. He didn't smoke. He hung around positive kids. He kept a job. He didn't like negative energy at all. And his whole killing was a mistaken identity because they thought that he was somebody else. From my sister saving me from that situation, it started to make me think of what I could do, something better to keep my son's name living. And one thing that my son despised was gangs. He hated the whole gang this, gang that. And I asked the Lord, I said, you know what, Lord? I need you to send me something that'll help me take that word gang and turn it into something positive. Turn it into something to glorify you and to start a positive movement. And it came to me in a dream, and what the Lord sent to me in my spirit was I started a movement, and the movement is called Bible Gang. Basic instructions before leaving earth, giving all notoriety to God. And what it is that I go into the streets with the gangbangers, and I kind of let them know my story. And I pressure with them like, y'all just don't understand. The gun is not the killer. The gun is not the killer. It's the choice that you make. You're the killer. The gun is not the killer. Because all it took was for me to not thinking that 1 second and react and pull that trigger, and my life was over. What did I win from that? I got a dead son. I would have been in prison for the rest of my life, and I wouldn't be out here to speak it and be able to be somebody to speak from experience of this. This gun violence is bad. It's bad, y'all.
How old was your boy?
My boy was 19. He was 19 when he got shot.
Where was that at?
This was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I moved to Minnesota because of the death of my son.
Right.
You know, I couldn't take everywhere I went. I seen my son, and it kind of bothered me. I started to spiral, but I'm saying that from experience, y'all. That I'm so glad that y'all talking about this topic, because this is a very, very dangerous topic. It's a very dangerous situation, and it's gonna take more than talk.
Right.
They gotta see us. They gotta see us in the trenches. We have to be in the trenches.
Amen.
We have to go talking to them. Come here, little brother. Let me holler at you, man. Let me talk to you. Listen, you don't want to go down that route, because I almost went down that route.
Let me stop you right there. Give him some love.
Yeah.
You know, I got you. And hey, say that again.
My name is Tracy.
Tracy.
Yeah.
I really don't know how you ended up here on this particular night. This is so amazing to me. Can y'all settle it? It's so amazing to me that you ended up here on this night. Well, and Marlon, thank you, man, for bringing brother. And brothers, we're so sorry for your loss here. You know, Broadway and Milwaukee is just like this.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes.
you know, I mean, really. So, Span, what you got?
Yeah, I'm a Burns fan. I'm God's
About that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, sorry for your loss. That was my worst fear to lose son, child. But what I was going to say about the legislators, you know, the committee, they have these meetings or whatever. They're always talking about the guns is for the protection, to protect our homes. We need guns to defend ourselves. But right, but then, you know, you got the little boy that just got shot recently, going to the house, mistaken address, wrong address. 85-year-old man shot him. He didn't kill him, but he shot him in the arm, then he gave him a headshot to finish him.
Yeah.
So that's overkill. You see, so these are the people that say that they have the guns to protect themselves, but yet they're choosing who they want to assassinate. And they're looking for a reason to assassinate. Now, the youngsters get a hold of these guns because they do burglaries. They're in the house for the sole purpose of burglary. we're gonna rob the house, they got the gun. So they getting these guns for, protection, but then the kids are getting in the house to get the guns for the gang violence.
Expand, I want you to go one step deeper, because you got some family members who are in that clique.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you saying that.
Yeah, I got family members, I mean, I got a lot of brothers, you know, they're Christ Lord. You know, so a lot of brothers in different gangs, that was, you know, stressful enough. You know, but we have plenty of guns. There's always guns. They pass them around when they use them, they pass them. You know, so you can't really stop the guns, but I think if the legislature would stop saying that people need these guns to protect themselves, just get rid of guns altogether. Because there's countries outside here that don't have guns.
That's right.
You see, but United States of America just gotta have guns. Who are they afraid of? What are they really for? See, because if they say you're a felon, you can't have a gun. You know, you don't have the right to protect yourself. You know, but when a vigilante want to come to your house, you know what I'm saying, because of the crime that you committed, so one of their family members, sure. You see what I'm saying? So I think that if they got rid of the guns, period, stop saying that we need this for protection, everybody can start learning to get along. You know, as long as you got weapons out there, you're gonna have shit.
It's good. Donald, jump in.
I've got a different spin on it. I think that, it's not the gun, it's the people, the brother's face to just hit on it. People need to change their attitude, like you said, we need to put our work in. It's easy to blame it on the gun. But there's attitude that's going on it. People in this room understand, you know what I mean, what unresolved issues will do, what wounded people will do, hurt people will do, right? Those youngsters, like you said, we get a trick, they need to show up, not just talk all that stuff, all that smack. You can't never legislate behavior. I don't care what you tell me, I don't care what you think. We know that already, or morality, for that matter. We have an obligation to get in the tricks, do the work. That's the only way we're gonna stop this violence in our community. Guns will always be here. Everybody in this room knows guns and drugs is currency. They drop that down for reward, right? Get us a scuffle for the crime for the rest of the boat and all that other stuff they do. They've been doing that for centuries. We need to get in the trenches, put in our work. Period. From the top to the bottom.
Okay, give him some love. Give him some love. And then Steve. Washington, and then Pete.
I got two questions for our guest. One, she said 18 to 44 make up 80% of the gun violence. Is that a national statistic?
It was a national.
National. And then for you, young lady, I read your brochure and it said something about the Minnesota Innocence Project. It's the Innocence Project. Pick up that case.
Yes, they do.
So is it the Great North Innocence Project? Yeah, I know the executive director. We just had lunch the other day. So are they on it? Are they
Well, they
working on
did
it?
their work, but then it goes over to the CRU board, which is Keith Allison. And that's kind of where the photo came out with that picture review board, and they didn't have it for 3 years.
Right.
There's really not a lot of transparency when it comes to that. And so we kind of want to
So
find out.
have they heard his case?
Yeah, they take that.
Yeah.
No, they haven't heard it, but they're aware of it. And so what they tell the families is, like, most of the guys who I work with my organization, they all get the same letter, 180 days, and it says that we have your application, we're still doing an investigation, and they send out these letters to all of them. So I don't know, I can't speak.
No, that's good. And so to that point, the way that Keith got George Floyd case was protest. Pressure. And so I'll leave it at that. Steve, you go. still really trying to, I'm Steve Jennings, pop guy. Still trying to really formulate this thought, but for me, I'm thinking it's more than the mentality. You know, I said this as a joke when I first got out. I would say to people immediately, "Hey, do nothing around me bad, 'cause I'm telling you, I ain't going back for nobody."
Right.
Like, so you might have, just so you know before you already let me in that car, or you come pick me up, or come by my house, or do something bad, I'm telling you.
Right.
You know, but I said it as a joke, but I meant it. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, keep it away from me because I'm not going.
Yeah.
Okay. If we're not accountable for our own, and they know that I'm gonna hold you accountable for that. I saw you do that. You know what I'm saying? And as one individual doing it, you know, that puts a threat on that person's life. But as a massive group, letting people know you're gonna be held accountable for that. Don't go out there and do that. You know what I'm saying? Because we know these kids, we know these men that's going out here and doing these things. We have to know them. If there's what they say is 7 degrees of separation, 6 degrees of separation, we know them. We have to be knowing them. They got to be somebody kid, somebody's son, somebody's uncle. You know, I was down in Rochester and I heard y'all talking about a situation where it was a funeral or it was an after celebration of life.
Yes, right.
And 2 people ended up getting killed.
At that point, that was Lil Daddy's people.
Okay. So while y'all talking about that, I just having a conversation knowing that the person who just did the shooting. Okay. And I'm like,
yeah, right.
Wow, it's too close. We are too close. Yeah. We know these people. There's got to be somebody that we can talk to or have an influence on. Man, hey, I heard about what just happened on the north side. Oh yeah, well, you know who's gonna get that call. Let me call them ahead of time.
Yeah, his point is well taken. The shooters are somebody's kids. And somebody's mom or dad or brother or somebody, they already know pistols in the house, guns are in the home. And to what extent, somebody asked if to what extent, here's the problem with that, or the oxymoron, I should say. You want to call somebody, but it can't be the police.
Right, no, and I get that. That's why I said call that person who you know they're finna go get that pistol.
Right. Yeah, and so that's what triggers a response from Tim, is that right? Tracy. That's kind of the response that Tracy was talking about, right? Where there's somebody that you can call and it not be the police, because the police are in some ways perpetrating, whatever.
And they got a gun.
That somebody called your sister,
And we know
right?
that they prey upon the
Somebody
kids.
called your sister
So we're gonna try to
and presented you.
Well, have to be
Like he said about the people going in and robbing people for the guns. The gun that my son was shot with was a pastor's gun. They broke into the pastor's house, and the pastor had a gun inside of his house to protect his family. And they stole that gun. And that's the gun that my son was murdered with.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
weird. So when I hear about kids getting shot, it just puts a weird feeling over me every single time.
Sure. You ready? Go ahead.
I appreciate you guys. It's just like, I understand what you're saying, too, guys. Don't criticize kids. Also, this kid's life. We don't know what he's been going through yet. My daughter just got killed. My kid was stabbed in the back. He's going through mental stuff too. So
It's also the.
Wait.
You was like, I appreciate you said don't judge kids, but they don't know what they're doing. It's like after we stop people talking about this stuff, ask for money, get that. Let's go out there, do something about it. Let's go and help the kids, but they need the help. Because it is again, my daughter got killed. I hurt myself, killed myself, and everything. It's my daughter. It's my baby. You know, I was sorry about that. Killed about it. We even going through me. I say, I understand what you say, no brother. These tears I love, but that's my kid. That's my daughter. My heart. So, it's a lot. It's July. So I'm going through that. So then I got a stroke. You know, I'm doing all this crazy stuff. I told people if I was down. I just told my boss, please don't let me die.
What you do to dog? What you do to
Come on, give him some love.
I do the security and stuff like that. I help out people that need help. But it's hard. That people don't understand. I just called a little girl. She doped herself out. It died. She should have died right there in front of Burn Hope thing. I helped her. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what I was doing. I helped her. To shoot the stuff.
Okay.
What he gave me. I helped her. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what I was doing. Like, what the heck? The police would come, ambulance would come. What should I do? So I'm like, I just said, get it. You know, I give it to where it's supposed to go to. So you can't always judge the kids and stuff like that, y'all. You know, and I understand what you said too. You know, it's hard, bro. When somebody kill my daughter, I want to just go crazy. This is my baby, man. It's hard.
But our God is
She
a
left
mighty God, man.
2 kids, bro. Just had a baby.
Just remember, God is a mighty God.
So, but like I said again, though, I just been struggling. But you know what? I talk to God every day. And I tell him, just keep on helping me first. Because how can I help my other 14 kids? Period.
Let me give you a little food for thought. Because he's talking
Just
directly to
listen.
me.
Just listen.
It's just a lot, bro. I've been going through. You know, Pop, these people have been my side. I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came because y'all need to hit it, bro. Like it's a lot. It's a lot. You know, I ain't never cried. I mean, my old daughter funeral. They need to cry because I don't know what to do.
This is love feelings.
I still, you know, this is my daughter. So why you kill my daughter? It's too much. I do that to my daughter. You ain't gotta go.
No.
Gotta go. Yeah, so I'm grateful, bro. I'm grateful.
I'm just gonna pause for a minute. Turn right on Lindell right now.
Unless you come here.
That's for coming here, don't turn. You know, I appreciate what everybody is bringing to this table. You're here for a reason. And Sandy, we just appreciate you. And now you see kind of what we, that was only question 1. I don't know if you had any.
Yeah, I have a lot, but.
If you have another, but anybody who didn't go, you wanna chime into this discussion?
Back here.
Oh, but P, I'm sorry, it was you. Don't stand up. Don't stand up. Ain't nobody else stand up. You just
So I have a question for you. So you're from the Minnesota Department of Health. Is that correct?
Yes.
Would you consider that gun violence to be public health crisis?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, based on that, I know that there's money available to help, especially with $18 billion in the state plus. You know, that there's definitely money available for this cause. Office of Violence Prevention and stuff like that, I don't know how successful they are. I've things strictly, but, I have plans. I have, and it goes, one is, like the brothers were talking about, is access. Access to the weapons themselves, right? Two is, like the brother was talking, well, first is, like the sister was talking about, community. A couple other people talking about community, okay? And that leads to three, which is what the brother just said earlier, right? Which is about, the families themselves, okay? So I've been thinking about this a long time, and I have, a plan, okay, that I know that we can take nationally, since you said that these numbers, these statistical numbers are based on the national census, right? So the first thing is that being in the trenches is really is being in the home. That's where it is first, because I was one of those children who came up in the street. I was one of those children who carried a gun, a knife. I had to survive. You know what I'm saying? Like for real. And so, over the years, and I'm from here, born and raised. I ain't from anywhere else. And so, I've watched it all go down, and I've been a part of it. And what I'm getting at is this, right? Is that, what I have some stuff written down. I was moving and working and stuff, so I didn't get a chance to bring it with me. But I have things written down, the conflict resolution stuff, the Operation Peace, the Operation Checkmate. There's a few other things that I have, right? And so I'm going to share this. It's one of the things I was talking about, getting to what the brother said about being in the home, right? The brother Duval and a few others, we all know these fellas, right? All these brothers in here, we know these brothers, right? And we know that these brothers have children. How effective they've been, we've been in our children's lives, is definitely a part of it, but it's also the women too, okay, and how effective they've been in the child's life. Imbalanced parents raise imbalanced children. Imbalanced children are out here committing the crimes. If you don't know where your child is at 11, 12, 13, because I was 11, I was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old in the street, out here running around north side, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So if my parents don't know where I'm at, then the question is why don't you know this? What is happening in the home first? See,
Absolutely.
that's where it starts. Because I didn't run away from home because it was a good home. I ran away from home because I was getting my butt beat all the time, and for most times, no apparent reason. And I got dogged. I didn't just get no whooping. I got dogged. I got knocked across the room. I got body slammed on hardwood floors. I had, there's a lot of stuff to it that people don't even know about. But I made the decision, even though I was a violent teen, I made the decision not to kill anybody, as long as no one harmed my people. And that peace reverberated all throughout everyone that I've ever met, even those who committed murders by gun. So the first thing, like I said, is we need a coalition of people to be able to. First, we need contact. My Rolodex is large. We get in contact with these people with a delegation based on peace first to talk about their child. Now, how we gonna know this? We know this by dealing with the people in the juvenile system. There's some legal stuff around it, but I'm pretty sure that we could bypass that with the type of coalition that we aim to bring, because we want to talk to these parents first. We also want to talk to these children. We want to identify the needs. What services do these children actually need? What's really going on with you? Because like the brother said, his son was going through a mental state that nobody obviously could help him with, you know what I'm saying? And he did what was on, that overcame him, as any man or woman that's, living in this certain type of environment would do. See, environment. Everybody knows that the drugs, okay, Okay, like this, and people that have church homes, like my man right here, he had a church home. His son was a good boy. He didn't have no drugs running through. He didn't have no boosters running through. He didn't have no car thieves running through. He didn't have none of that running through his house. That helped to influence his child. When his child left the house, he took on the instruction that his parents gave him, you know what I'm saying? So then that way he was able to function properly in life at that age. What happened is that he came across some people that were imbalanced children. Some boys that were acting, you know what I'm saying, they were standing in the feminine, but standing in the masculine, but operating out the feminine. And that's the truth. Emotions. See, when you got thought, logic, and reason, the person said, like the brother Shane had showed me one time, is that the man said, hey, son, I know it looks good down there, but that's not a good environment for you. Now, if you want to go down there, I'll take you down there so you can see, but we're going to stand enough away so you can see what happens.
See, I got to hold you up. But I'm going to tell you something. Well, you hitting on some pieces. I just want you to hear me say that. You hitting on some pieces. And we can blow those pieces out. But to the extent that you have anything written or anything else you want to share, this is only an introduction to the discussion. We're going to continue it on. We can't solve it all tonight. But I would say that one of the things I tried some years back, I've been at this around, I had the mothers of murdered sons. I had about six mothers. And I just let them tell their story. I'm gonna pull it out for you, show it to you. It's so powerful, and it's what you said, except for they couldn't identify. They was in the pain. They couldn't identify a piece that you did just identify. That things weren't right at the house. And let's just face it, sometimes things are not right at home. And that's a piece I think is being overlooked in some way. So give him some doubt. I think I appreciate you sharing your thoughts with the group. I want to just make sure anybody else who hadn't said anything real quick.
Add on, right on with your gun violence, they got the new thing on this TikTok video, school fights. I have in my possession right now, I have one of the siblings, my grandchildren and stuff, especially out in these suburbs, they just start doing the search over in South Minneapolis. But towards the northern hemisphere, they've been having kids pick a fight and video record it and put it on YouTube and TikTok. Yeah, everybody is doing that. It has been brought up. And I've caught a few minors and young adults with guns and cars watching that.
Wow,
That's coming
wow,
out.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Hold up, Antonio. Mike, did you bring that picture right here on somebody back here that I didn't get to? Anybody? Okay, go ahead, Antonio.
I was just gonna elaborate on what he said because it's funny. Because on my way here,
what he said?
yeah, on my way here, I had washed my car and then I was coming straight here and it was these kids out there fighting. And the girl, I'm looking as I'm driving by because I was about to get out. Then I was looking at the time I had to be here. So only reason why I didn't stop because I had to get here because I was gonna stop it. And the girl was like video recording as if she was gonna put it like on TikTok. She just sitting there and I'm like, what? Is this serious? And I didn't stop because I had to get here and I know what time it was. So that's why I didn't stop. But this is funny because it wasn't strange or odd, but it was. Now that he brought that up, that's what they were doing.
Wow, that's amazing. I see that's some new kind of stuff here. You know, we
on Twitter. It's on Twitter too.
It's on.
They do it all the time.
So somebody last week, and I discussed, hey, Sherrod, how you doing? Somebody last week said this, and I want to bring this back up just so I guess I'm hearing it, that we've now moved into the sensationalization phase of violence and shooting. So like the way sports used to be, you know, so glamorized, and I mean, it still is, or boxing, and it still is. But now, you know, it's kind of moved because the attention that sports would have, with everybody was, you know, looking in on this. And now with the advent of social media, everybody can be looking in on a whole bunch of stuff. And so I just want us to realize we're living in a different age. Messaging, say messaging. You didn't say it louder. Messaging, say messaging. Messaging is important. Now, just like, I'll just give you a couple examples. Back in the old days, when, you know, back in the just TV days, no cable, just TV. Some of y'all don't remember them days. They actually existed. This is how products were commercialized. They were sold. Ray Charles said, "You got the right one, baby." That was that Coca-Cola? Diet Coke. You know, it was the cigarettes was a Marlboro Man. Marlboro Man was tough looking. He's on his horse, and you know, he was he's puffing away, puffed his life away, you know, this and that. Yes. But messaging was all done in that way. Say messaging. Messaging. So here in this age, and we talked about this a bit last week, Marlon, in this age, we need to be able to message like you shared and everybody else. How do we message? And somebody said, "Oh, well, we need an app." But see, they'll never look at that app. We gotta get it in everything, you know, that you gotta see this in order to see what you want to see. That takes relationships. You found? And so we gotta think a little bit about how can we use our voices. Now, see, just right here, what we have shared tonight, this brother, Tracy, Duval, there's more, you know, there's more in here. We put it on out there. Y'all's voices are so powerful. Duval, just there, I could feel him getting healthier, even though he was sharing this stuff. It was so painful. I feel him getting it out. Tracy, I could feel the pain on you as you were sharing about your son. And I don't know what that pain is. You know, everybody don't know it, but that's why we need y'all in some ways in this messaging modality to be able to tell your story in a way that gets at the people prior to the shot. What's in your mind prior to the gunshot? This is how deep we got to get. Y'all hear me? Ahead of the bullet is a message. Because right now, these guys are following your message. We need a competitive message. Anyway, Sandy, did you, let me hear from you. What you thinking?
I think it's a lot of power in this room. And I appreciate the courage it takes to be vulnerable. And I don't get to sit in a space where Black men get to be. And so I'm applauding that. And if I could, I'd be doing like a cartwheel because that really means a lot. Because when you share your voice and your power, then things get done. And so I appreciate the collaboration, the love, the delegation, and the opportunity just to be here. And thank you for sharing. Just thank you.
Give us some love. One of the things that she talked about relationship, we have a relationship already personally, but we also have professional relationships. And what we're trying to do is figure out how can we drag our professional relationships to a place where here is personal. Right? And I think we have, that opportunity
is coming. You know, that's what we're just working on. We're just working on it tonight. Just trying to think our way through some stuff. Come and let us reason. That's what we're doing. I'm coming right to you, Steve. But something so important is here tonight. We have one of our top guys who's here tonight. He's all masked up, you know, and we need to come to our clinic, the next clinic, so we can get him a booster shot. You know, booster. But Mike Fox was a top guy, and Mike has been, you know, Mike was struggling, you know, with raising his child, and this is what Pete's point was. Mike has been struggling to figure out how to be a loving and correct father. You gotta go. Oh, okay. Anybody else in here that y'all didn't do your taxes yet? You gotta file for extension, don't?
I don't know
Huh? It's not a hard process to file for an extension. You know, I'm actually sorry. I had a resource for taxes and didn't bring it to the table. But if you haven't filed, you got to file a one-page paper that's asked for more time. Say more time. That's all any of us need is a little more time. So, but Mike right here, watch this. Mike, I just want you to hear. Mike needed to do some things in order to get his daughter back. His daughter is a powerful daughter. Bella. Y'all know it. Had her at the dances, just had our last dance at the father-daughter dance, and Bella was looking so beautiful. Mike had to complete something for the court. And he was struggling to get the conditions met, right? But on today, Mike, I want you to stand up and show the group your certificate. Well, I can't help you with that,
Okay. So, this, Mike Fox, you that don't know, I feel y'all. I completed the anger management domestic violence at Phyllis Weekly. Dr. Mr. Kim. No, her name is McKim. But yes, sister, and it's a hard week though. But I completed it though, and I got one more to complete, and that's pamphlet classes, which is gonna be in the next 3 weeks. So
who's gonna do that?
It's some agency they got going on that they work with. I mean, we want to everywhere aware what we do to but I gotta get a note like this kind of Dollar Tree issue.
Can you tell me one thing that you learned that you can share with us in that class?
Ownership. Being a common denominator of your anger issue.
Mine.
So I figured that out and learned that, and that's basically what I was on there focusing on, just doing that.
Taking ownership.
Yeah, taking ownership. See, when you take ownership, you can control yourself more better, because now you know your responsibility, you know the consequences. So why keep putting myself through the same consequences over and over and over?
Come on, give him some love. Yeah, I'm real proud of you, Mike. I appreciate it. Because I love Bella so much, I want her to be with you. That's how I met her, and that's where she needs to be. But however that's gonna go, it's gonna go. But you just gotta keep working on Mike to be a better Mike. Yeah, you know what I mean. And ain't that good though, man? Yeah. Some of us have these issues, and then we ain't dealing with them. You know what I mean? So before we move on, I will just give Will, because Will had missed last week, but he was here, but was in the back on a meeting.
And I'm gonna just pause that one. We got one more thing. Tim is here. Tim has been, he's been sick. He's in the hospital for a while. And then, you know, he's just been kind of recovering. But give Tim a hand. He made it back to Tim, you know, it always brings us back to the gospel. He always brings us back to the word. You got a word?
Well, yeah. The one thing is you know, these kids, they feel powerless. So they're searching for ways to get. They don't have any hope. You know, you talk about. They don't see anything good. They see ways they can survive. They see ways that they can enjoy their life, and it's not good ways. When Nelson Mandela, he's one of my heroes. He came into a situation in South Africa where the blacks were, you know, being really mistreated, and his whole family was being mistreated. He was mistreated. He brought gospel of forgiveness, helped them understand that it's not about vengeance, it's not about getting revenge, it's not about paying the person back. Like he just was saying, he almost went through the vengeance. We need to somehow help and reach these kids with a better way.
Tim got a good word, don't he? Come on. Yeah. I'm glad you're here. Appreciate you feeling better. If y'all got to leave out,
Yeah, we're gonna be leaving.
Jim or Joe? John, you had a good day? You had a good time?
Yes, sir.
Did you learn
I just want to
something?
say, like, y'all give me a lot of hope, like, a lot of respect for everybody here in the room. Like, thank you for letting me be here.
Sister, you got something to say?
Just grateful that I got to be here. Grateful I got to sit in on this.
Look at this smile this girl got.
Right.
Give her a hand, that girl.
You'll see us.
Okay. So we're gonna give Will the floor, excuse me. I appreciate y'all being so patient. See, sometimes we have groups, it'll seem like we had two groups in one. And it don't feel like that in a way, because we done traveled some distance, you know, emotionally, and you know, we done covered some ground. It seems like now we're on group 2 or 3, right? And even we're just still in our regular group time. Will didn't get a chance to reflect last week, and I just don't want to leave you out this week. So take it however you want to take it.
No, I just you know, I was kind of glad, you know, the conversation shifted from the gun into, you know, what we could do, what we have control over. You know, the NRA and stuff like that, you know, they could do what they're doing, but we don't have to entrust our future or our children to them. We can, you know, we're the help we've been looking for, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, ain't nobody else coming, and we got everything we need here. I was 18 years old when I caught that murder. And, you know, the culture taught me that, you know, this is how men in the streets handle their business. And if you don't handle your business correctly, you get caught slipping. And if you get caught slipping, you may never get up again. 30-some years later, you know, now I'm teaching in a classroom. And, you know, I realized that, you know, when I was 18, I didn't see the other options, you know, the other options wasn't for me, you know. But now, you know, being a professional, being in a classroom, I realized that, you know, now I have all these other options of resolving conflict. And the thing about it, when you're not living in the streets, it's no shame on you to exhaust these different options. You know, so I just think we have to take a multifaceted approach. And, I wouldn't worry about the guns because the guns always been here. But if you notice, there was a certain point in history when we didn't pick up the guns. See what I'm saying? Because we didn't see the value in the guns. We saw the value in each other, the value in the love, right? And then that changed, okay? But we just have to, go back to that, man. We have to breathe on these kids, like what Amos said. I don't know where he at, but he was right on it. PJ was on it. Many of our young boys have a feminine expression, and that's because they wasn't raised by men. So they get very emotional, and prideful, and can't handle any kind of criticism, coming from men because men didn't raise them. You know what I'm saying? So when you say something to them, they don't know how to handle that word. You know what I'm saying? We have to teach these kids knowledge of self. We gotta go back and help them understand, what a man is. And we have to start there, and we have to bring the love back, and we have to start there.
Yeah,
we have to start there.
Yeah, that's give them some love right there. Okay. We'll give you an example of what Will was just saying, and y'all have been saying this. I'm a little older, and when I grew up, men carry pistols, but they didn't pull them like that. I'm just telling you the truth. The music I grew up listening to, the message, say message. I'm telling you, messages are important. I grew up listening to some messages, where music was totally created. Al Green, love and something that'll make you do. Huh? I mean, this is what I grew up on. And I still listen to the music I grew up on in my car. With satellite radio, you have all these options. In satellite radio, I listen to the radio like it was in my day. And it keeps, my attitude is right. Now, the messages in some of the music on today literally advocate for,
no question.
You know what I mean?
No, all of it.
You know what I'm saying? And then, the video piece that comes behind it, where they literally act it out. And so I do think, I'm going to say this to Will's point. I said this last week to Will's point. I just want you to hear it. I can identify when gun violence changed in America. I can identify because I lived through it. When young people started selling crack, in my day, you couldn't buy dope outside. There's no outside dope. You had to go to somebody's house. So when crack came along, it was so addictive, you really couldn't wait to get to nobody's house, right? And so folks started getting territory or corners. On the way to the dope house, wait a minute, I saw boy Ray got a bomb. Right. And it was there, watch this, where children started selling dope to adults. And right then in that, it was a shift.
No question about it. No question.
It was a strip
No
mill.
question.
This, I can put it in between the years of 1977 through 90, where it's smoke clear. You get what I mean? But wherever the smoke was, guns were there, young people were the dope seller, the purchaser was an adult. And it shifted the power. So young people watch this, start shooting each other for the right to sell dope to dope. Oh, Jesus. And that, we haven't recovered from that. Now, if we can harness what I just said to you in a message and figure out how to tell it back, you know. Yeah, so, Steve, go. Oh, sis, you've been waiting, sis, go.
Okay, so I really wasn't gonna say nothing then.
Come on, sis.
But, so people started talking about feelings and, you know, how that makes people act and you know, and so, you know, I'm a cop guy because I've been there 4 times. But my first time I was 18, I got 2 of the worstest felonies that you could ever get. And one was arson, and it was a crime of passion. You know, I was burning up somebody because they did something with somebody, you know, that kind of thing. And then when I ran from the scene of the arson, I got in my car and I had a concealed weapon. So I had a concealed weapon in an arson at 18 years old. And it turned my whole life around, and I went to penitentiary 3 more times because I couldn't get up underneath them 2 things. Carrying a concealed weapon, if they see that on your record, you know, it's like, you know, they had a gun. Don't give them no job. No, get away. No, I know they did it because they got this on their record. You know, this is on their record. You know, so yeah, it's and it's all about, you know. I wouldn't have had the weapon in my car if I wasn't going there to do something to my man because he was with some other broad or some old craziness, you know, at 18 years old, you know. I would have never had a weapon, but I felt like I had to have a weapon, you know. So I rode all over town and finally somebody gave me one at 18, you know. And that followed me and it till just lately when I turned my life around and started doing other things. But you know, that crime followed me and also the arson, you know, that every time they see that, you know, it's a no-go with me, whatever I'm trying to do in a legal sense. So, you know, yeah.
You don't know that.
Parents. Want their child to have a gun to carry them, but they know it's free. You got them protected back alive. Have somebody else.
So you're saying the parents are giving children guns?
In some cases, yeah.
But I mean, but that's
access to the gun. If the people.
Hold it, sir. Hold it. This is a show conversation here. Go ahead.
One of my ideas, I was told this to help me get better management of my control management. If you let a 5-year-old drive you around, absolutely, for a number of reasons. Yet, the country we live in is founded on thievery, violence, and
exploitation.
exploitation. And it has to do rich versus poor. Color is secondary to me. So those who have that money make sure. And by any means, violence is the way to get things done. So the truth of the matter, who controls the money, controls the laws, violence towards each other, that's emotional. We're angry. I feel angry because of what happened in my neighborhood. I feel angry because so-and-so told me this happened. I'm gonna do something about it. Well, I don't ever get angry what happened in East Bethel. I never get angry what happened in Eden Prairie. I only get angry what happened over north, what over south. My environment is dictating my emotional state. It's good. And I react. That's good.
Yeah, that's give him some depth right there.
Wait, ain't too much of a gun person. Know about him, never shot near. I got caught with no gun. I can say that because I don't got time for no gun, but it's like, if I was a gun buyer to go with the children and everything, I'm sorry, it's like, I'm gonna say corporations, because everybody gotta work for somebody. The corporations keeping the parents stressful, and they gotta keep working. So you gotta deal with everything. You gotta deal with how rent is. Everything is for you to get from point A to point B for the end of the day. Now, that's the distraction for the parents. Parents, listen, don't keep working for your companies and your job. Keep putting hours and hours in, because you're taking a lot of hours away from your children. You really are just for the people that, do it. He's on working. So what they do while you at work, this is how they get your children. TikTok, number one. Number two, music. Drugs, that's obsolete. Anybody can do some drugs. You ain't gotta force nobody to do no drugs these days. They just look at each other wanting to get high, like everybody else get high. So it's like they following for no reason. And what they doing is that they keeping the children right where they now. They stealing cars. We ain't steal cars. I know I never really stole no car, but people around that stole cars. They stole cars for the car parts. They didn't steal the car to joyride. It didn't either go for the parts or drive by. Other than that, they ain't stealing no cars to just joyride around unless they homeless. For real. That's a real car thief. So it's like these kids picking all this stuff up to what they doing is everybody say, oh no. I say no, they copycat everything they see other cities do. If you can kill the copycat person and focus on the kids and what they take away from the kids that ain't nobody mentioned yet, they take away all the facilities that kids can be able to go do. All the boys and girls club, you can only get 2, 3 here, but you got them all far away from each other. So now they go back, they put restrictions, and they call restriction and policy. If you don't live in this district, you can't come here. It's still segregation, but it's segregation by addresses. It's still segregation by how can I say it? Like he said, your school better than that school because they on this side of town and that. So they still segregating about it even with the schools. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the kids don't have nothing. They don't have nothing at all. They don't have nothing to go from school to here to there. Even on the weekends. Where do they go on the weekends? I asked some little boys, it was about 4,000. I said, do y'all go to the movies? Do y'all ask y'all parents for money just to go to the movies? Do y'all go to the Mall of America? You gotta buy nothing. Window shop. Window shop is way better than bad something, you know what? Because it's high now, you might get it that later for the low price. So like, y'all don't do like a lot, I don't see a lot of group of kids for children that just go out and go into things. Only when they go something, if they parents involved or a family member brings something up or one of their best friends, family member having something going on. Fuck, they don't never just do it on their own. That's why I say it's nowhere they go. My brother showed me how to go to the movies, go work, take your money, your paycheck, go to Oliver Garden, that was my place back in Benedict. And it's like, these kids don't go get the money to go out and do those things. I showed my son at 18 years old, took to the steakhouse for his birthday. I showed him, this is what grown men do. They eat at steakhouses. They conversate at steakhouses. This Chicago style. I'm showing him Chicago ways. So when he sat up and looked and see all the people there, what he going to bake a cheeseburger? Like, so when he takes the steak, it changed his whole mind. And so it's not what's in your hand, it's what melts in your mouth, brother. So the steak melted in his mouth. He said, I should have got one. I said, it's okay, you get it next time. So it's like they need some avenues to keep doing positive things. And it seems unnormal because everybody talk, oh, everything out. It's not. What you gotta do is go in there and read the menu and don't pick nothing out in your pockets.
Let me stop you right there. Give Mike. Yeah, okay, Shelby, I'm coming to you. Mike touched on a couple of important things right there. Now, let me show you something. You know, I drive my daughter everywhere. If I don't drive, my wife drives. She don't. It's not like we let me walk some distance from the house. That's out. That's out. I'm gonna drive you there. You're gonna give me a time. I'm gonna come back 10 minutes ahead of the time you gave. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know, and so see, and that was, I didn't have that experience. Like Pete, we went out, walked, went to the beach, walked the whole way, walked back, you know, just talking and hee-hawing the whole way, picking out cars. I like this car. And that stuff stuck with me, man. But so these are some, what he's saying that the times dictate these different policies that actually discriminate in some ways by address. Discrimination by address. By Mike Fox. the graduate. Give him a hand. Let Woody get in right here.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Let's say, look at the I don't want to say let's say it's happening that wrong. I had all of that. State, the young man, you pain, drugs, and all those things rapidly along with some stuff. And so I'll take a decent role, but I'll kids that didn't have and wanted to fit in or whatever to fit in. And talk to your folks and I ask questions. What is it? Do you still dream of wanting to be something? You know, like we're doing this boys of hope. I heard ask that. Asphalt there. Oh, you staff. The dope game with the money happening now, the quick way, get to the top. And so we kind of lost us aware of how society should go. The spirit of, but the spirit of the gun violence is seeped into even the suburbs of it. They should be cops. That's always nowhere. Everywhere.
Woody just touched on something like COVID, gun violence is spreading. Yeah. And it'll spread to anybody. And you know, in European communities, it's happening more and more readily now. You know, we don't even want to mention who somebody already mentioned, the young brother who was sent by his family to pick up his twin brother. Yeah. He got the address wrong, right? And knocked on the wrong door, and Mr. Old Man died. Did he shoot through the door?
He shot through the window first, and the glass exploded. The boy was right, the glass exploded in his face. The bullet missed him. Then while the boy was on the ground, the man came out and shot him in the arm and said, "Don't come around here no more." And they were said that he said, "Nigga, don't come around here no more."
Okay, so now
But
watch
that's why they
this.
say it makes sense.
Hold on, one second.
Nothing to say. The man didn't say, how can I help you? Like a normal human being. Even a vile human being, he was disgusting. If someone knocked at their door, they would say, who is it? At least, who is it or what do you want? But in this example, there was nothing said.
That's what happened. Go ahead, Shelby.
Hey, I just want to go back to what I was talking about earlier, because see, I don't understand. You know, we have a crisis in this country now, and these young people, they just kill it in school, churches, man, you name it, laws, you name it. It's just been going on for some years now. It's getting worse. So I'm going back to this. When Ronald Reagan and his wife, Nancy Reagan, they put a war out against drugs. It was a war on drugs, right? So they went after a lot of cartels and they got some of them. And they got drug dealers that's in the neighborhood, giving them 30 and 40, 50 years. They catch them with a certain amount of drugs. They got a lot of time. Some of them still in prison now for some stuff that happened back in Nancy Reagan era, okay? So I don't understand this. How can you go after something, the drug dealers and the cartels that distributing stuff in the community throughout the country, the United States, but you're doing nothing about the manufacturer? I don't understand it. The manufacturer is the source, okay? When I was coming up as a kid, man, it was very hard to get a pistol. You had to know somebody and they had to know somebody. You couldn't just go get a gun from your neighbor. But he probably didn't have it. He probably knew someone that had it. You know, they used to have the ammunition in the hardware when I was a kid. The hardware would sell ammunition. You had to go to a gun show, or you had to go downtown to where they selling at the pawn shop and all that. You know, you needed ID and all this stuff to get a gun. So it was so hard to get a gun. Most of the time you gave up because it was that hard to get it. That was tough. But now it's so ready available. It's like, man, you know, they got it coming through the mail. Well, they got this other thing, this 3D thing they talking about now, the ghost gun and all this. They studied manufacturing, but no one is raising HELL with these manufacturers or these distributors. I don't get it. But you raise all this about the drug, but you're not raising anything about the gun. So I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. That's a fair question. And so, you know, I think what you're saying is, you know, there's the consequences. And it plays a role. What we have on our plate, how can we get this? Some of our that what we're seeing, what we're experiencing is hurting us, especially us on us. We have learned now how to eliminate each other in a diabolical way. We got to create some alternative messages as a starting point. Someone said that there'll be multiple ways to go at this, and we'll see how that goes down the line. But Sandy, what I'm going to throw it back to you and just see.
Sandy, remember when you told me I said, they're shooting automatic weapons. And you said, that ain't no automatic weapon. It's a pistol and they're selling stuff over the internet that makes it an automatic weapon. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's the time we live in, you know, it's time we live in.
You can make it.
So what I wanna do though is kind of sew us up now and see can we get to next steps, you know? And so Sandy, can you help, how was it, did you get what you needed, did you hear what you?
I heard it.
And, you know, you and I have been talking a little bit about doing this summit piece. Just so happens when we were talking about it, the summit is on the same day as our fundraiser. But we're gonna still be involved. The summit is gonna be on, say the date?
Friday, May 19th.
Friday, May 19th. It's gonna be at Shiloh Temple right up here, walking distance from here on Broadway and Fremont. Can you tell us a little bit about what you see happening on that day?
Just trying to get information about how we can have resources, because that's a message that I keep hearing. That what are kids doing, and how the family has a powerful impact. Because home is the beginning.
Home is the beginning.
We want to just have people talk about what they can offer, what is being offered, and how we can make an impact, not just on each other and with each other, but also legislatively, how we can have a collective voice. That's what I want. How we can use our collective voices. We all have to pay taxes.
Bring up taxes.
Okay, don't bring up.
Oh my God. So this is so on the, we're gonna send out, everybody gonna get something in your email if you left your email address or your text, via text, however, whichever you have on the sign, make sure your name is on the sign up sheet if it's not spam. We got you on the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want you to be involved. Now, this is a work day. So some people have to, you know, plan ahead, you know, that it's a work day. Stephen, we'd like to have you up here if it's possible. It's a Friday, May 19th. The summit is gonna start at 9 o'clock at Shiloh. So what we're gonna do, all pop guys, we're gonna wear our POP shirts that day, just so that we're identifiable. And then we're also gonna be kind of a presence. And we'll talk more about that, just a loving presence. You know, just to, you know, keep everybody moving correctly, keep us moving correctly. But we'll probably participate, some of us will participate in the culinary panels. And we can think about who that is. We got a little time to think about it. Myself, I'll be out. Will, if you can work that date, if you can be there at start us off, we'll be at the fundraiser, but wait a minute. I need to be at the fundraiser, but we'll figure it out. And then we'll make sure who's there right there at the beginning, who's available at the beginning, and who, if you can only take a half day off, what can you take the first half of the day off and come the evening, or take the, you know, or vice versa. Get it? So we'll figure all that out. We'll have something next week or next Tuesday to talk through where we can sign up. We can make sure you're going to be where you're supposed to be. For us to be involved in the summit, let me just tell you what I mean by that. We were involved, POP, in restoring 54 individuals back their civil rights. 60 days from that day, we were involved in pushing the Senate and the House to restore voting rights to 55,000. And we were successful in that lobby. What we want to do, What we want to continue to be involved, you know, at the right spaces that we have expertise to be involved in, and try to move our agenda forward, just like we moved that agenda forward. It don't all happen right in one day. It didn't have, that took 20 years to get done, but it got done. everybody in here has the right to vote. And so, so give Sandy a hand for coming. And we could do more, but we done had so much. I'm telling you, I'm wore out. I feel like we done had 3 groups, man. So we're gonna pledge out tonight, so everybody can pledge out and get out of here just a little bit early. Unless, okay, all 3. What did they happy birthday to? Happy birthday. Happy birthday. If anybody got a dollar, they can send over here to the board. Oh, it's really his birthday. They doing you up. I'm getting a blessing again. And Papa, trying to get down here and see my dog. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, I'll be 60. I'm gonna tell y'all. I'll be 60. I'll be 60. It took a long time to get there, but I'm there. All right. It's no longer than anybody else. Let's get in. I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. I like that.
Here you go.
I can't reach like I'm on. Get yoked up. Get yoked up. Cornelius, get yoked up. Okay, yoked up. Antonio, we gotta slide down. All right, let's be yoked up. Slide down. Slide down. Slide it down.
It's more in the bank. I can't really see those things.
2 cents.
That's bless you.
Right. Hey, let me tell y'all something. Islam, this is his first group back in a while. Because Islam has been going to school. He's been working in the daytime, going to school at night, so that he could better his life. Islam has graduated with his certificate in manufacturing. All right. Give him some love.
And this is what he do. Breathes us out to us every morning.
Every morning. Yeah. Information. I will. Family values. My goal. I will. Exercise wisdom. I choose to eat. Read. Do. I will. Strive to make all my relationships win-win. I will. Every circumstance. Maintain a positive attitude. Think about it. Don't nobody say nothing. This is just for me. I will. Just make it. I will. Under every circumstance. Maintain a positive attitude. My name is Wayne Fox. And I am somebody. Now everybody say, I am somebody. I will enjoy my life, sense of humor, taking advantage of my opportunities, learning from my misfortune. Will on circumstances rather than have them act upon me. I will on a daily basis. Proactive with my goals. I will always protect my wisdom, my health, my happiness. I will stay principled. Maintain circle of influence. No riffraff. I will daily learn. Fit. And do. I will. To the POP Leadership Institute. be productive in my community, my private life. I'm gonna play. Okay. Hug somebody. Help me.
Did I get away from it?